The first I knew of Billy Bob was when he did Sling Blade. Yes. And I see many young faces here in the audience, and I know that some of you may have heard about it, but I wonder if you really know what Sling Blade and the character created and acted by Billy Bob Thornton, what it looks like. We have a brief clip. Let's take a look at that, and then we'll be back to talk about Sling Blade. Woo!
I got some of that potted meat and soda crackers left over if you want some.
I don't see how you can eat all that stuff for them insides it's made out of.
I reckon it tastes pretty good to me.
I like the way you talk.
Well, I like the way you talk.
Fill us in and help us remember, who was Sling Blade?
Who was Sling Blade? Sling Blade was a lawnmower blade.
No, but I mean the character. The character they're playing.
Yeah. No, I'm teasing you. Carl Childers, who was a guy who was in a mental institution for killing his mother and her lover because he was taught by his parents that sex was a bad thing and he should never do this and do that. He was kind of treated in a way, kind of treated as an animal by his own parents, because since he was kind of messed up, they just sort of put him away. And there was a guy in my little town. I was raised in a really little place in Arkansas in the woods, and there was a guy who they said was cursed by the devil or something, or his mother, that was when she was pregnant with him, she got scared by a snake or something, you know, really old hillbilly lore. And so they made him live out back and they fed him like an animal, and that was where the seed of the story came from here. And in reality, he had polio, is what it was. And they thought he was afflicted by the devil and all this kind of crazy stuff. So at the end of the day, Sling Blade was really about, you know, had some religious connotations. It's like, you know, everybody has a right to their own religion, but when you use it to control people, it's not such a good thing. And so the character was based on 3 different guys. The physicality was based on a guy that I worked with, who was my assistant when I used to haul bulldozers and backhoes and things in Arkansas and in Houston. And he was a retarded guy. He was in his probably mid-30s at the time. He was older than I was. He walked, and sort of his body language was sort of like what I used for Carl. And the guy nearly got me killed a few times when I was loading bulldozers and he hadn't put both ramps down, that kind of thing. But that part was based on that. And then the voice and some of the inflections came from old men in a nursing home. I worked in a nursing home for about 2.5 years. And some of those guys all melded together and made up the voice and some of the inflections in the words.
And the young actor was?
Lucas Black,
yeah,
from Speak, Alabama. And later, Lucas, I directed him again in All the Pretty Horses. So he was 11 in Sling Blade. He was 16 in All the Pretty Horses. And then when he was 21, we did Friday Night Lights. So every 5 years, you know. So I've been kind of his movie dad. And about a few years ago, Lucas called me and he said, "I heard you was doing a movie and I ain't in it." He goes, "It's been 5 years." He goes, "I guess you don't love me no more." And I said, "Well, you know, you're a big dude now, you know."
For Sling Blade, it won Best Writing, and you won an Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay, am I right?
Adapted from my own play.
Yes,
yeah.
And it really launched your career, didn't it? I mean, Hollywood sat up and took notice.
Well, yes, we'd had a movie that Tom Efferson and I wrote called One False Move that we did in 1990. which was a critically acclaimed movie, but not like a box office hit. So I wasn't known to the general public that much, and I've been on, a TV series on Fox and a TV show for CBS with John Ritter, and before that, stuff like Thug Number 3 on Hunter and Matlock, and that kind of divorce court, stuff like that, in real life but yeah, I was known out in LA, but not a household name with the public, and Sling Blade was the kind of thing that really, like overnight, all of a sudden, it was, people like Gregory Peck and Elizabeth Taylor call you up and congratulate you. It's like, wow, that's different.